everyone. Welcome back to the book reading session. Today let us know about the greatest student in the world who had achieved the great heights and a name and fame. He is none other than Ekalavya. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. In our land, the teacher who imparts training is held in very high esteem. The teacher is respected like a father. As the above saying describes, the teacher is considered as the Trimurtis, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, all rolled into one. In olden times, children who sought learning have to live with the teacher faithfully, attend to the course assigned by them and pursue their studies and concentration as they taught them. Such stay of the people with his master or a teacher is known as Gurukulavasa, staying and learning at the board of a master. The teacher was not merely teaching these people some subject like parrot-like manner, he would actually shape the boy's character and the personality too by installing him an awareness of the world around him and how to lead a life useful for the society and face various problems in upcoming life. Thus, the tutor who trains young boys to face life in future with success came to be according prevalent places in the culture. A brave boy and a gentle boy, Ekalavya. This is a story of a boy who demonstrated to the world what an aspirant could achieve in life if he has faith and respect in his master and pursue his efforts. There were so many young children who belonged to the distinguished families that they thought that there were the stories in the history. But a hero of a story should open the eyes of such arrogant people. This ideal disciple is Ekalavya. Ekalavya was a jungle boy belonging to a hunter's community. He was a bold child. It was a time when communities were considered socially inferior, but Ekalavya, by his action and behavior, showed that one inferior or superior status lies not within his community one belongs to, but in one's vision and qualities of heart. Ekalavya resided in a small, charming forest with his mother. They were leading a modest, contented life. His father, Hiranyagarbha, who was a chief strain to the store to bring Ekalavya as a brave boy, embodying good and noble qualities. But he passed away while the son was still a young boy. As he was a descendant to the clan, Ekalavya then became the chief of the forest, lover of the animals. Ekalavya had developed a strong affection towards the animal, amidst which he was grown up. He wanted these simple, harmless animals to grow in a loving way under his care and ensured they can be not harmed. If anyone troubled them, he would feel like killing him. A large number of wolves lived in that forest and they often hunted small tender calves and deers and other animals. The calves, when caught by the wolves, would be heart-rending. Ekalavya would, upon hearing such cries, was in great agony. Can't I save these poor animals? Can't I possess enough physical strength to wipe off the merons? He pined. The hunter are born archers. Ekalavya too grew up mastering the art. However, he aspired to increase his physical strength so that he can get rid of the problems of the wolves in the forest. He therefore pursued his training in archery with total concentration. Who will be his guru? Ekalavya's mother noticed her son's restlessness. Asked him one evening, "Son, why are you worried so much nowadays?" "Nothing to worry, mother." No, there is something which is worrying you very much. Can't you say what is it to me?" "There is nothing which I have to hide from you, mother. I only not wish to unnecessarily add to your worries. Look, our deer calves, deers, etc. are becoming game to the big cruel wild animals. We can kill a wolf if we can't see it, but often it will have made its kill and run away before we could see it, mother." "Shoot wolf," but how to master archery to the extent. Which mastery shall I turn to? This has been my worry, told Ekalavya. The mother felt glad when she heard to these words of her son. She was pleased to listen to the concern for the harmless animals in the forest. She also felt sympathetic that her son, who was without a kill, the unseen father, should take up himself such an obligation at such a young age. She said, Ekalavya, heard of Dronacharya? No. Who is he? If you want to shoot at the wolves unseen, you should become his disciple to achieve the power you desire. Where is he, mother? Tell me, I will become his disciple. Ekalavya exclaimed with pleasure and anticipation. He is in Hastinapura teaching archery to the princess of Bharata claim. He is the guru of Kauravas, who were the sons of Emperor Dhritarashtra and their relatives. You have heard about Bhishmacharya, son of Ganga Devi. It is said that none can match him in battle. He was the person who suggested Dronacharya should teach archery to the Kaurava prince. Drona's fame has spread far and wide, and many places and different states also go him for training. How did Bhishmacharya discover Dronacharya? He himself came to Hastinapura. He had learned archery from his father sage Bharadwaja, besides being a disciple of Parshurama. It is said that no person can match them. Dronacharya, the art of wielding the bow and arrow are rare in the world. It appears he was very poor, and in the course of travelling he came to Hastinapura. Bhishma heard about him. There is an interesting story about him, and she started narrating the story. Dronacharya. The Kaurava and Pandava princes were the young boys. One day, while they were playing, their ball fell into the well. However, much they tried, they could not fetch it. Nearby, an impressive looking, dark, complex Brahmin was standing. Then boys went to him for help. Upon listening their request, he took one sheaf of the dry grass, cutting constantly with holy prayers, and threw one piece at the ball flowing into the well. The several grasses, leaves, all of them were now attached to the ball, forming a straight line leading to the top of the well. He put it in the drew and the well. The boys were surprised at the magic and wondered. Oh, distinguished Brahmin, what is your name? Where did you come from? Dronacharya. Go and narrate what you saw to Bhishmacharya, your grandfather, and you will know everything. The boys ran to Bhishma and exactly told him about the Brahmin's speech. At that time, Bhishma was thinking about equipping the princess in archery with thorough training, as they have to look after the kingdom when they grow up and protect from the enemies. He was on the outlook for the suitable tutor for the boys. He had heard about Dronacharya, son of the sage Bharadwaja and the disciple of Parshurama, as the master archer. The enthusiastic narration of the princess convinced him that the Brahmin they had seen must have none other than Drona. He immediately went to Drona and offered honors, requesting him to stay in the capital with the princess master. Drona agreed to set up his residence in Hastinapura. He alone as my guru. Ekalavya became excited as he heard the story of Dronacharya from his mother. Oh mother, how lucky are the Kauravas and the Pandavas. Prince, can Dronacharya teach archery to me too? Go and try, my son. I wish you luck. Do not forget that he is distinguished elderly man. Conduct yourself with dignity and respect. Never retreat. Behave yourself in front of him and accomplish your task. Bless the mother and send the boy filled with enthusiasm and happiness. At the protest of meeting Dronacharya, he set out to Hastinapura before the guru's image. Satisfied with having achieved something new and special, Ekalavya turned to his forest. There he prepared an ideal of Dronacharya, installed it in front of a particular place and began to worship it reverently by offering flowers, fruits, etc. Ekalavya would get up early in the morning, bathe himself and offer puja in front of the master's idol. Enshrined into the mind were the words, actions and training methods of Drona he had witnessed. He faithfully followed the instructions and continued his practices. And his powers increased as days passed. While Arjuna had personally mastered archery from Drona, learned from him by first hand, Ekalavya achieved equal impressive skill while worshipping the master in absentia. If he could not accomplish a particular technique, he would rush to Drona's image and represent his problem and would wait in meditation till the solution appeared in his mind. He would then proceed further. Ekalavya's training progressed in this manner. Who is this expert archer? Ekalavya, the Kauravas and the Pandava princes once went to the forest on a hunting scenario where their dog was running forward. Ekalavya, dressed in the tiger skin, wearing strings on coach breeds, was engaged in this particular practice. The dog, on approaching him, began to bark, probably wishing to show off his workmanship. He sent down a series of arrows in the direction of the barking dog, and the arrows filled his mouth. It ran back to the princes. They were astonished at his sight of archery and wondered, who is the archer? Arjuna, seeing this, was not only surprised but felt anxious too. He wanted to recognize as the world's foremost archer. His fame was spreading across many states. Now, witnessing an instant of these extraordinary powers, he was concerned that there was being another strong contender for him and his position. The prince went in pursuit of an archer who had hit their dog and saw Ekalavya. Two disciples. Ekalavya was standing there, a dark complexioned boy looking like a cherished creature. There was a bow in his hand and arrow in his right. The prince wondered. Was the youngster really the one who shoot these arrows? Was their question. Who taught him to use these arrows with such dedication in the forest? Arjuna felt restlessly. There was a person matching him. He felt astonished. The prince asked Ekalavya, "Are you the person who sent down these arrows into the dog's mouth?" "Yes." "Who are you? What is your name?" asked the prince. "I am the son of Hiranyadhabu, the king of Nishada. I am the chieftain of the forest. Ekalavya is my name. Your power in archery is tremendous. Who is your master?" "My master is Dronacharya," said Ekalavya humbly. Arjuna was taken aback at the mention of Drona's name. Is it true? Could this dear teacher teach such an art to an ordinary boy? If so, what would the master's promise to me? He think about himself. The Guru's promise. Drona had developed a special affection towards Arjuna. He was pleased at the extraordinary interest Arjuna had in his training. There were a king named called Drupada who also had learned archery with Drona. He had learned archery with Drona. He had promised Drona that he would help him when he assumed throne. But later, when the poor Dronacharya went to see him, the king dismissed him saying, "Do you think a king keep friendship with an ordinary person like you?" Dronacharya was enraged and retorted, "Remember this, someday one of my disciple will bring you to me like a slave." Since then, this one thought constantly nagging in Acharya's mind. Drona called his disciples and told them, "Sons, I am fulfilling the wondrous responsibilities of training you. I am sure all of you will meet your success one day. I have a desire to be fulfilled. You should accomplish it after your training is completed. Will you promise? The prince stood in silence before the tutor, listening to his words. After a while, Arjuna felt that it is improper to stand in front of the Guruji without answering anything. Rushing forward, Arjuna said, "Oh Master, should you ask for this? Your word is a law to us. Whatever you may say, we will fulfill it." Dronacharya felt very happy to discover a pupil of his heart's desire. His affection flowed for Arjuna. "I will train you to be unmatched in the world, and this is my promise," said by Drona. Another incident. Once when Drona and the princess were having their dinner, the light was suddenly extinguished by the draught of wind. The darkness encouraged Arjuna to ponder thus. "Now, in this darkness, our eyes cannot plot anything. Your mouth and your hands cannot work. Yet, the hand with foot is correctly moving forward to your mouth. This is the result of your practice. So, if we have thorough practice, even in darkness, we can hit our target." No sooner was the meal over than he rushed out and straightly started practicing in the dark. Drona was pleased by this dedication of Arjuna. "Do not insult my Guru." Arjuna grew up with a strong conviction that none in the world could match him in archery, and he was Drona's closest disciple. The sight of the jungle boy that could challenge him set him worrying, and the boy said he was a disciple of Drona. Can a representable person like Dronacharya fail to keep his word? "Is it true that Dronacharya is your master?" asked Arjuna to Ekalavya. "Don't be so arrogant as to question my word. My father did not live long to teach me archery completely, but he taught me to be truthful and fruitful to my master. Do you doubt me? Are you the one who doubt me always on my master?" At this retort from Ekalavya, Arjuna replied in an equal inspiring tone, "I am the son of King Pandu. My name is Arjuna. My master is Dronacharya. He hails from a distinguished clan and would ever teach a jungle boy like you. All his disciples come from a superior caste and races," said Arjuna. Ekalavya felt like laughing at Arjuna's words, but without making fun, he said, "Arjuna, my master does not bother about these class discriminations. It matters to him little further a disciple is Arya or a hunter. Why should it matters in one's learning for archery? As our master says, the disciple should possess determination and concentration in practicing to achieve their challenges. The teacher should be genuinely interested in his pupil. My master Dronacharya has heartfully blessed me, and I am confident that I will become a master archer with his blessings." Arjuna could not accept Ekalavya's words. "No," he protested. "What you are saying is false. I won't believe it. Did Master Dronacharya deceive me?" Arjuna's word angered Ekalavya. He suddenly whipped out the bow and shouted at Arjuna, "You keep your mouth shut. Say one word insulting my Guru, I shall cut your tongue off." Sensing that the word of wars was getting out of hand, Dharmaraja, the eldest of the Pandavas, said Arjuna that, "Oh Arjuna, why this unnecessary discussion? Let us go and ask Dronacharya himself." The next course. No sooner did they return to Hastinapura, Arjuna rushed to Dronacharya. His face was red and his eyes showed his anxiety. He explained to the master what had happened in the forest. "A hunter boy has gained superiority over him." "Oh master," he boasted at the Guru, "how can you do this to me? What about your promise to me?" said Arjuna. Dronacharya was in a shock. He remained silent for a while. He could guess what really happened. He was caught between two foremost disciples, both dear to him. Dronacharya was actually pleased at the enterprise of the disciple who stayed in the forest and had mastered the art of archery without knowing the name of the Guru. Oh, what an adventurous boy! What a determination! Anybody should appreciate his capabilities when he could wield the bow and arrow well as the humble Arjuna. Drona thought and felt happy within himself. He was very pleased at Ekalavya's devotion to the master and thirst of acquiring a thoughtful training. He decided to show Arjuna the real qualities of Ekalavya. And Drona also came to a painful decision in relation to his obligation as a teacher to the princess. God they will be done. He prayed and set about his task. Accompanied by Arjuna and Ashwathama, he presided to Ekalavya's forest. Here comes my Guru. Ekalavya's joy has no bounds when he learned that Dronacharya was visiting him. He entered up the whole forest to welcome the master. Thinking that Drona should not miss the path and amidst darkness or shadows shown by the tall trees, he positioned his fellow tribesmen all along the routes to guide his teacher to the destination without any hindrance. He decorated the idol. He was worshipping the idol with colorful white flowers. He prayed before it again. He kept the bow and arrow properly managed. He was full of anticipation. Horns blow the arrival of Dronacharya. Ekalavya rushed out and saw his majestically walking down. Approaching to him, Ekalavya fell on his feet. Tears rolled down his cheeks. His sheer excitement, his desire to welcome his master was great. It was total surrenderance. Ekalavya also warmly welcomed Arjuna and Ashwathama who came and accompanied his masters. The Guru's agony and pain. Ekalavya treated the distinguished guest to the feast of delicious fruits, milk, etc. He later demonstrated to them his power in archery. Arrows flee in all directions in novel formations. Ekalavya gratefully told Drona, "Sir, all this is the result of your kind blessings. As long as I remember you, none of the arrows I send forth can fail to hit the target. I have also learned to aim at the source of any sound. I sat in prayer before your idol and during your worship, the whole knowledge came to me. How can I forget your generosity?" His eyes were closed in reverence. Dronacharya was thrilled at the words and actions of Ekalavya. His heart melted with deep affection for a unique pupil. Seeing the devotion with which he was worshipped his idol, his eyes swelling with tears of emotion. "I am lucky to have such a pupil," he told himself. When he remembered the object of his visit, Drona was in a great agony. Should this poor boy suffer because of the promise I made to the prince? Should his life ambition collapse because of my promise? Said by Drona in grief. Arjuna and Ashwathama sat transfixed upon witnessing Ekalavya's skills. They forgot themselves and began applauding Ekalavya. Guru Dakshina. Drona, awakened from his emotional state and remembering his objective, instructed Ashwathama to go out and make arrangements for their return journey. He was concerned that his son might oppose him. After Ashwathama went out, Drona in a low voice told Ekalavya, "Yes, Guruji, your learning is enormous, son. I am deeply satisfied. With utter devotion and practice, you have achieved something magnificent. May your achievements become an idol for the whole world." Drona blessed his disciple wholeheartedly. Ekalavya was overwhelmed. Thank you, O Gurudeva. Only wish my mother had heard your noble words. But sir, you blessed me with this training. You asked me in Hastinapura to pursue many trainings in the forest and said I was a disciple of yours. Otherwise, I would not be in this condition, said by Ekalavya. Drona said, if you accept me as your master or guru, you are obliged to pay me fee or Guru Dakshina. Think over it. Ekalavya smiling replied, what is there to think over, sir? I am your disciple and you are my guru. This is true as the existence of my mother, my forest, there and my dear ones and my animal friends. Such is my destination. Please, I would like to give whatever you ask. Please say, what is your wish, sir? I will fulfill it, even if I have to sacrifice my life in your efforts. Word failed for Drona. He could hardly respond to the glorious devotion of a jungle boy. He felt utterly helpless and was obliged to tell him, Ekalavya, your achievement is unparalleled. Any master should feel proud of such a disciple. But son, now it has fallen to me, lot of promise I made. Oh master, what are you saying? You have to break a promise? Impossible. It will not happen. And that too because I got trained in this art. Oh Bhagavan, please tell me, how can I help you to solve your problem? Everything that is mine, my whole being is your life. Please accept my fee. Ekalavya, I have demand a supreme sacrifice from you to fulfill my word. Pardon me, son. Can you please give me the thumb of your right hand and as my fee? Ekalavya stared at Drona for a moment. He could sense the master's agony. He then stood up and walked to the idol with the utmost respect, placed the thumb upon the stone and cut off his finger with the bow and arrow. Blood started gushing out. Meanwhile, Arjuna was keenly listening to the conversation between Drona and Ekalavya. He was worried whether he could match Ekalavya in the skills of archery, but felt confident that Drona could keep his promise. When the master asked Ekalavya's thumb as a fee, Arjuna was shocked. By the time he collected his thoughts and turned to Ekalavya, the thumb was already rolled down to the floor. Ekalavya then wrapped the thumb into the leaf and gave Drona as a Guru Dakshina, who was sitting with his eyes closed, and said, Oh master, please accept my fee. Opening his eyes, Drona saw the thumb soaked with blood. The disciple stood before him with a smile on his face. Drona, while feeling grieved at the injury he inflicted upon Ekalavya, was at the same time deeply touched by the devotion of a jungle boy. He embraced him, saying, Son, your devotion towards the Guru is unmatched. I feel a sense of fulfillment in having you as my disciple. May God bless you. Arjuna was standing there dumbfounded. Later, the threesome returned to Hastinapura. The end. Ekalavya scored victory in defeat. With the right thumb gone, he could no longer practice archery, but he would not give up his spirit. He continued to practice using his left arm and achieved archery. His accurate workmanship becoming by God, he demonstrated that nothing could be hindrance to the totally perceiving person. But he was constantly nagged by one worry. As a heroic person like his father, he had desired to assist the king of the land in times of difficulties, and he could fulfill their ambitions. It was a time when the great war of Kurukshetra was being fought. Lord Krishna supported the Pandavas, was thinking about talented and heroic person who may join the hands of Kauravas. Ekalavya's father had died in service of Kauravas. Now it was possible his son might also assist Kauravas. Though he had lost his right thumb, he was still one of the world's greatest archers, Krishna thought. It is said that in Mahabharata, the Lord Krishna, not wanting Ekalavya to assist the Kauravas army, killed him before the war erupted and blessed him with eternal salvation. Ideal pupil. Ekalavya was an ideal pupil and desirable person of learning, making one's good pupil totally considered by the desire of learning. Ekalavya, a tough, not sitting before the master in person. Mastered archery by worshipping the Guru in absence. A boy from woods, losing his father in his early age, achieved such great glory in archery. When the master desired and asked him for his right thumb as his fee, he unhesitatingly cut off his thumb and presented it to his master. Ekalavya is a name that lives in the memory of mankind eternally like a star. So this is a story of a great disciple, Ekalavya, who will be considered as the greatest. So though Arjuna is considered as the greatest archer, Ekalavya is considered as the greatest pupil or the greatest student. So everyone should be like a Ekalavya, and every master is also a Dronacharya. Thank you.